Hey friends, so I've had a few people ask me questions on last night's homework. It was the page 340, numbers 13 through 16. So 13 through 16 are set up like this. And they are going to give you, it looks like an ordered pair. It's not an ordered pair. They're giving you an interval, okay? So 13 was that. I'll talk about 14. And then hopefully if we talk through those two, then you can get 15 and 16. And then once you figure out these ones, then I believe that 17, 18, 19, 20 are similar as well. For all four of them, 13 through 16, part A is asking what will the sine be? Part B is asking what will the cosine be? And part C is asking what is the tangent? All that I want for an answer here is a positive or a negative number. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to think about our unit circle. So here's my xy axis. There's my unit circle. And if I've got my unit circle right there, here's what they're saying. This is just asking you to look at an interval, meaning only look from 0 to pi over 2. Notice they use parentheses, meaning don't include the ordered pairs at 0 and don't include the ordered pairs at pi over 2. Okay, so go all the way up to there. So for question 13, they want you to look at every angle between 0 and pi over 2. All that question 13 is really saying, another way they could have worded it, is if you are only working in quadrant 1, will your sine be positive or negative? Will your cosine be positive or negative? Or will your tangent be positive or negative? Okay, so for each one of those, here's how I'm going to do that. Sine, remember, is your y value. Cosine is your x value. Tangent is your y divided by your x value. I don't know if you can see that. It says divide right there. So here's what I'm thinking. If I'm trying to figure out 13, any point, doesn't matter if it's here or here or here, or even one that's not on the unit circle for like 17, 18, 19, 20, if it's any of those places in between there, doesn't really matter. All they want is it going to be a positive or a negative number? Well, sine is my y. To get to any of those ordered pairs, I have to go up. And if I have to go up, that's for sure a positive number. So every ordered pair between 0 and pi over 2, even though I don't know what they all are, is going to have a positive y value. And that means my sine has to be positive because sine is your y. Then every ordered pair over there, look at your x value. To get to any ordered pair over here, I had to go to the right to get to quadrant 1, which means I had to go in the positive direction. So for number 13, the cosine, no matter what angle you pick, as long as it's between 0 and pi over 2, I should have a positive cosine value. And then finally, my tangent. Tangent is your y divided by my x. I don't know the numbers, but I do know that if I ever take a positive number divided by another positive number, I'm going to end up with a positive number. Okay, that's all that they're asking for number 13. Number 14 is basically saying the same thing, but now instead of looking in that first quadrant, 14 is saying, okay, now look from pi over 2 and go all the way up to pi. Well, 14 is really just saying only look in quadrant 2. If I'm only looking in quadrant 2, we have 3 ordered pairs in there, but truly there's numerous ordered pairs over there. They're just not all specifically on the unit circle. And if I'm looking in quadrant 2, my sine, which is my y value, to get to this point, I still have to go up. So my sine is still positive. However, to get to this point, I had to go, it's easier to see if I put it there, I have to go to the left to get to that point, which means that my cosine, since cosine is my x value, my x coordinates are all going to be negative. And then my tangent is my y divided by my x, so sine divided by cosine. Any positive number divided by any negative number is going to end up being negative. So that's what they're asking for 13, 14, 15, and 16. So 15, if I remember correctly, I believe it's just basically saying, well, what happens when you're in quadrant 3? 16 is going to say what happens when you're in quadrant 4. A hint on 17, 18, 19, 20. They are not angles that are in your unit circle. But let's say it's, and I'm making this number up, let's say that they give you the angle 235 degrees. That is not on my unit circle. If I say find the tangent of 235 degrees, I don't want the number. All they want is, will it be a positive or negative number? But here's what I know. Here's 90 degrees. Here's 180. Here's 270. That's too far. 235 is somewhere between 180 and 270. I don't need to know exactly where it is. I just need to know that this is somewhere down here in quadrant 3. You need to figure out when I take my y value, whatever it is, divided by my x value, whatever it is, will that end up being positive or negative? For that one, to get to, let's say that's where that point is, I have to go to the left and I have to go down. If I have to go left and down, that means left, and this would have been a negative. A negative divided by another negative would mean that, oops, whatever that tangent of 235 is, it's going to end up being a positive number because I'm going left and down. So negative divided by negative would turn out to be a positive. Hopefully that makes more sense. If you still have questions, please let me know. Okay, bye friends.